Vuelta España 2024, Stage 5, red hot racing to get to here in Andalusia. Stage finish in Seville. Temperatures around 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 37 degrees Celsius. And this is the home of Flamingo, Sangria, and bullfighting. And it was Wout van Aert charging like a bull right in front of Spain's biggest bullfighting arena. But off to his right, the Czech rider Pavel Bittner from Team DSM, pipping him right on the line to an extreme battle, fighting for the sprint victory in Stage 5. Everyone was overheated, sweating at the finish line as we waited to see who would be the winner in the photo finish. Wout thought he went too soon, and yes, indeed he did. After a few seconds of delay, both riders waiting to find out, it was Pavel Bittner throwing his arms up in celebration around his teammates there at the finish. He was over the moon, super excited after his big victories in the Vuelta a Burgos, ahead of the Vuelta España. Pavel Bittner celebrating on the day, but let's bring it back 177 kilometers, leaving Extremadura to arrive here in the region of Andalusia in Spain's deep south. Two riders went on the hunt for the stage win, an early escape from the gun, one from Escutel and Ruiz from Kern Pharma, again up there away in the day to fight, but it came to nothing because they were out there all day in this hot temperature, hot heat, and pulled back right around 38 kilometers to go. And we had an interesting moment at 25 kilometers to go because it was Wout van Aert and Caden Groves really fighting for the green jersey points competition. Wout van Aert, after having a day in the red jersey, wants to keep that green jersey. It was Caden Groves getting the sprint over Wout van Aert, getting the extra points. And it was going to come down to the finish line here to figure out who was going to have the green jersey at the end of the day. That's secondary. Primary for those guys is getting a stage win. Both of them already have won in this Vuelta España 2024, but they want more. Wout van Aert, especially in his debut Vuelta España. To get here, there were a few incidents, especially it was getting tense because around 45 kilometers to go, we saw Team Red Bull, Bora Hansgrohe hit the front really hard. They've been pulling all day with Team Visma and Team Alpecin, but at that point they really revved up, and we saw there for a moment Primoz Roglic himself came up to the front. Afterwards he joked around about bulls running on the side of the road. He said luckily they didn't run into the peloton, but he was running like a bullfighter there in the red jersey with the red cape. Then 10 kilometers to go or so, the GC team still at the front. Also the mix of the sprint teams coming up to the front. We had EF Education up there protecting Richard Carapaz. Owen Dahl riding on the front, hit a bump or something in his road. Hand went off the handlebars, he crashed. Rui Costa, the Portuguese rider, Portuguese champion, went right into him, fell on his left hip, and shortly thereafter we heard he abandoned. I saw Duel come over the finish line. After the finish line, he turned right around and rode to the team bus about 1 kilometer down the road. Spaniard Mikel Landa, GC rider from T-Rex Quickstep, had a puncture, but he was okay. He was within the 3 kilometer rule. And once the teams got up to that point, the GC teams, they could breathe a sigh of relief. It was then the sprint teams, Alpecin in particular, went to work. Wout van Aert has to rely on the Alpecin team. He doesn't really have a sprint team here around him. We saw Eduardo Fini shoot up to the front at the last minute, but it was Wout van Aert in the green jersey marking the Alpecin de Koenig boys, in particular the last lead-out man, Ed Plancart for Caden Groves, coming into the finish line. And here's where Alpecin de Koenig probably made a mistake when we're watching the sprint back. They left the left-hand side of the road a little bit open, and they should have kept it tight, very tight, for other riders not to be able to come up. So Caden would only have to watch to the right, but instead, like a bull, it's Wout van Aert charging up the inside, hitting out early as he did the other day to get his stage victory. Well, today he did it. He was about ready to pull out the victory as he was punching up the left-hand side. It was Pavel Bittner coming up around the right-hand side, pulling off what is his biggest ever win. After those 2 wins in Burgos, today the 21-year-old gets stage victory in a grand tour in its massive form. Wout van Aert, with this second place, retains the green jersey over Caden Groves, who picked up 3rd on the day after his lead-out work by Ed Plancart. 4th on the day, Brian Cocard, the Cofidis rider. 5th on the day, surprise rider up in the sprint, Stefan Kung. Normally you see him in the time trials. Corbin Strong from Israel Premier Tech in 6th. And I mentioned Corbin Strong because he had a good kick, but also leading him out was Riley Sheehan, the American, helping out Corbin Strong for the finish there today. But we look at the GC and it's still Primož Roglič on top of João Almeida by a marginal 8 seconds, I believe, in the overall. And we go further down, it's Enric Mas in third place overall today. Sprint, one of the few in this 2024 edition. And Victor, well, it's not Wout van Aert, it's not Caden Groves, but today, Pavel Bittner, Team DSM, at the 2024 Vuelta España.